Perhaps the sentence my husband remembers most clearly after more than 7 years of marriage was not one of our wedding vows, but something my father told him the first time he came to meet my family. No matter how angry you get with each other in the future, don't ever lay a hand on my daughter. If you really can't handle it anymore, call me. I'll come and take her home. That day was just a simple family meal. My mother asked him everything she could think of: where he was from, what he did for work, what his parents did, how many siblings he had, even whether he knew how to cook. I sat beside him, embarrassed and amused, occasionally nudging my mother's foot under the table because she was asking too many questions. My father, on the other hand, barely said a word. He simply ate, occasionally offered my boyfriend more food, and listened to everyone talk. My father has always been a quiet man. He also has a serious face, stands over 6 feet tall, and used to play sports, so he still looks strong and intimidating. My husband later admitted that he had been so nervous that day, he could not even remember what dishes had been served. After dinner, my boyfriend stood up and asked permission to leave. I thought the meeting had gone smoothly, but then my father called him back. "Come outside and have some tea with me first." My boyfriend froze for a second. I was curious too, so I followed them outside. My father did not tell me to go back in. The three of us sat at the stone table under the tree in front of the house. My father poured him a cup of tea, stayed silent for a while, then finally said, "There is only one thing I want to ask of you." Until then, my father had addressed him politely as a guest. But at that moment, his tone softened, as though he were already speaking to family. "This girl has been spoiled by the whole family since she was little, so she can be stubborn. In the future, if she makes you angry, send her back here. Her father and I will teach her. But no matter what happens, don't ever hit her because you lose your temper." I was so embarrassed that I wanted to crawl under the table. "Dad, what are you saying? I'm not that stubborn." My father ignored me and continued looking at him. "When she was a child, there was one time she went out to play in the afternoon without telling anyone. The whole family searched everywhere and couldn't find her. We were terrified. Then she came running home by herself that evening. I was so worried and angry that I grabbed a large wooden chopstick and struck her leg once. Just once, but it left a red mark." His voice slowed. "She cried so hard. She kept saying she had only lost track of time while playing, that she had not run away. After I hit her, I realized I was wrong. Children need discipline when they make mistakes, but adults also need to control themselves. Otherwise, what we leave in a child's heart may be worse than the mistake they made. That was the first and last time I ever hit her." Sitting there, my eyes suddenly burned. I barely remembered the incident. I only had a faint memory of my leg hurting and my father standing outside my bedroom door for a long time. I never knew he still remembered it so clearly, or that he still carried guilt over it. Then he turned toward me and became stern again.
"And you? Don't think I'll defend you if you behave badly. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Just because you are my daughter doesn't mean you can do whatever you want." The three of us laughed and the tension eased. But before my boyfriend left, my father repeated himself one more time. "If you ever get too angry, call me. I'll come and take her home and teach her a lesson. When both of you have calmed down, you can come and pick her up again. But don't hit my girl." The way he kept calling me my girl made me feel both embarrassed and deeply loved. At the time, I assumed my father was simply saying what many protective fathers say when their daughter brings a boyfriend home. But my husband did not forget. We have now been married for more than 7 years. Of course, our marriage has not always been peaceful. We have argued about money, housework, our families, and sometimes over nothing more than a badly timed sentence. I have to admit that I am the kind of person who keeps talking when I am angry. Once I start, I want to say everything.
I keep going until the other person admits I am right. There was one time we fought because my husband had lent money to a friend without discussing it with me first. It was not an enormous amount, but we had many expenses at the time, so I was furious. He apologized and explained that his friend had been in an emergency, but I refused to stop. I brought up things from years earlier. I even said something cruel. You always care more about outsiders than your own wife. Maybe living with me is so difficult that we should just stop living together. He stayed silent for a moment, then stood up and put on his jacket. That made me even angrier. There you go again. Every time we argue, you walk away. Go then. Don't come back. He did not answer. He simply opened the door and left. The moment the door closed, the house became completely silent. At first, I was still angry. But as time passed, I began to worry. He had not taken many things with him. His phone was on, but he did not answer my calls. More than an hour later, he returned carrying 2 bottles of water. I turned my face away and pretended not to care. He placed 1 bottle in front of me and said, "I went out so both of us could calm down." I was angry too. If I had stayed, I might have said something cruel. I remembered what your father told me. When you're at your angriest, it's better to step away than to say or do something you'll regret later. I suddenly had nothing to say. He had been wrong to lend the money without telling me, but the way I cornered him was not right either. I had always assumed that someone who did not shout back simply was not angry. But in reality, he was trying to control his anger in his own way. He has never hit me, not once. He rarely even raises his voice. But that does not mean we have never hurt each other. Some words do not leave bruises on the skin, yet they remain in someone's heart for a very long time. After that argument, we made a rule. Whenever one of us feels unable to control our words, we are allowed to pause the conversation. The person who leaves must say where they are going and when they will return. No one is allowed to disappear just to punish the other person. We continue the conversation only after both of us have calmed down.
It sounds simple, but it is not always easy. There were still times when I followed him from the living room to the bedroom because I was determined to finish the argument. He closed the door, and I stood outside so angry that I cried. The next morning, he told me, "I wasn't silent because I looked down on you. I was silent because, at that moment, I was no longer calm enough to be kind." I thought about that sentence for a long time. Sometimes I still tease him about the day he first met my father. "If you ever stop loving me, tell me in advance so I can call my dad to come and take me home. He already warned you." He usually laughs. I still don't want to be invited for tea by your father a second time. At worst, I'll leave the house for a walk and come back. I ask him, "You're afraid of my dad, aren't you?" He shakes his head. I'm not afraid of him. I respect him. He didn't only tell me not to hit his daughter. He also made it clear that if you were wrong, he would not blindly defend you. He wasn't handing you over to me so I could treat you however I wanted, but he also wasn't asking me to tolerate everything you did. Many people who hear this story say I am lucky to have such an understanding husband. Others say my father's words sounded like a warning to his future son-in-law, especially because of his size. My father is around 6 feet tall and used to be an athlete. My husband is shorter, and when he stands beside my father, he looks much smaller. Whenever I tell the story, I joke that perhaps my husband has behaved well all these years because he is afraid of his father-in-law. But deep down, I know that is not the reason. A man who wants to use violence will not control himself for 7 years simply because his father-in-law is tall and strong. What stops my husband in his angriest moments is not fear. It is the fact that from the very beginning, he understood where the boundary in our marriage had been drawn. Still, sometimes I wonder whether society praises men too easily simply because they do not hit their wives, when that should be the minimum standard in any marriage. And if a husband does not use his fists,
but a wife uses cruel words to hurt him, then who is truly in the wrong? My father carried guilt for years because he lost control once with his daughter. My husband chooses to walk away whenever he is afraid he might cross a line. And I am still learning to stop before my words become another kind of violence. Even now, I do not know who is actually the luckiest person in this story. Am I lucky because I married a man who knows how to control himself? Is my husband lucky because he met a father-in-law who clearly established boundaries from the beginning? Or are we both lucky because someone reminded us that loving each other does not give us the right to hurt each other? More than 7 years later, my father's words over that cup of tea still remain with us. And sometimes I cannot help wondering, if my father had never said them that day, would my husband still have chosen to walk out the door, calm himself down, and come back every time anger threatened to get the better of him?
Nếu bạn yêu thích những câu chuyện đời thật, những tâm sự sâu sắc về tình yêu, hôn nhân, gia đình và bài học cuộc sống, hãy nhấn đăng ký kênh, like, chia sẻ và để lại bình luận bên dưới để cùng lan tỏa những câu chuyện ý nghĩa đến nhiều người hơn. Sự ủng hộ của bạn chính là động lực để tâm sự đời thật tiếp tục kể thêm nhiều câu chuyện chân thật, cảm xúc và đáng suy ngẫm mỗi ngày. Cảm ơn bạn đã lắng nghe và đồng hành cùng kênh.